Good fucking morning, people. How are we getting on? It is an absolutely cracking day. Look at this. Oh, I think it's meant to be like the hottest weekend of the year. This weekend, apparently 18 degrees is not really that hot at all. As I mentioned in the last video, I'm off to Spain in the next 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm very much looking forward to constant sun, no rain. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. One of the reasons we're actually going to Spain as well, that I know for me personally, it just removes any kind of temptation to go off track during prep. Pretty much just going to be training, working and relaxing over there versus, you know, everybody here at home could potentially be roped into going on nights out. As well as I was meant to be going to like Forbidden Fruit next weekend, or yeah, I think it's next weekend, but I have opted against that for the sake of keeping the goal to goal, and I do have like a wedding the following week as well, so it's just better off to try to limit these kind of occasions at the moment, because I still do have a lot of work to do on the prep front. Today's rest day. It is also a high day. I am going back to Mead today to home, so yeah, I'll show you a few clips throughout the day. If there's anything insightful that comes into my head, I will make sure to record it. So yeah, going to get my walk in, so taking off some steps first thing in the morning. This is maybe about 3,000 or 4,000 steps done, and then over the course of the rest of the day I'll get the rest of my 13.5 done. So it's very easy to get it done on a rest day. It's also very easy to get it done on a day where I'm not necessarily working. Like Saturday, I don't really do any check-ins, don't really do much work. I do a little bit of content planning, but that's about it. So yeah, gonna enjoy the rest of my walk, and I'll see you later. So we're back from our morning walk, and as I mentioned, right, today is a high day. I'm only implementing one high day now, so I don't know if I have updated you on my calories so far since the last full day of eating I did. I'm not going to do a full day of eating today. My calories essentially now, pretty much 6 days a week, are 2680, so just under 2700, and then 1 day a week I'm having a high day. So previously I was having 2 high days, but we're going a little bit more aggressive with things, and we're only implementing one. However, the high day I am having is like 3380, so pretty much 34, so around 700 calories more than I'm having most days, okay? And one of the reasons we're kind of implementing these is, well, firstly, it can potentially help with, you know, restoring some glycogen, although it is more likely that we will need more days to actually help with that. So ideally we'd be looking at maybe 2 to 3 days of carbohydrate overfeeding to start to replenish glycogens to a somewhat meaningful degree. However, one of the main things it's doing for me is just helping with adherence. If I know at the end of the week I have 1 day that's slightly higher in calories, it's going to be quite beneficial for me. It may have an impact to my performance tomorrow. So today, as I mentioned, is a rest day. Pretty much Tuesday through to yesterday, which is Friday, I had 4 days of training in a row, rest day today, and then heavy squats tomorrow. So I'm implementing the high day on this day to recover potentially from yesterday, and then that maybe help me with my performance tomorrow. So my breakfast today is pretty much staying the exact same as it is on the low days. The only difference really is I'm adding in a bagel, having 3 eggs, having some bacon medallions. Well, these are like just normal rashers, okay, but like when I run out of bacon medallions for whatever reason, haven't been on top of my shopping, I will simply just tear off the rinds. It's pretty much the exact same. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll still track it as bacon medallions because yeah, it's the exact same, because that's all bacon medallions are. It's one of these with the rinds of fat taken off. Then I have some chestnut mushrooms, and then I'm gonna have some oats with peanut butter, maple butter. And because it's a Saturday, I'm gonna treat myself to another coffee. So I'm gonna have some Tim Hortons, very nice coffee. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get to eating because I am fucking starving, and I'll catch you in the next clip. Now, so yeah, as I said, it's not a full day of eating video, but isn't that beautiful? Out in the balcony as well, absolute scenes. Don't know about anybody else, but breakfast is definitely my favorite meal of the day. It's just so good. And as well, when you're dieting, mushrooms are amazing. Now a lot of people don't like them. I used to never like them, but 100 grams for like 20 calories for like 100 grams, like hard to go wrong. Can't wait to get stuck into this as well. Beautiful. So just a little bit of a physique update. So as I mentioned, going back to my family home for today, so obviously had to get some check-in pictures done, or check-in videos even done, in my old bedroom, my childhood bedroom. Just the lighting in there is quite good. Like I get really good natural lighting in through the window. So usually when I do take my check-in videos or my check-in pictures, I have an extremely strong ring light, which is quite unforgiving. Like, I do obviously look good in some shots still because, you know, I'm getting leaner, so I'm gonna naturally look more defined. However, like, using natural light is going to really kind of show you how lean you are. And then as well, I suppose, to touch on how you would take progress pictures, or how you should take progress pictures, we want to ensure that you can see yourself. You want to be clear. So one problem I see a lot of people do is that they will stand in like a shadow, or they'll set themselves up in between the light source and the actual camera. Whereas what you want is, you want the light source, then the camera, and then you. And that's going to give you the best clear kind of shot of what your physique looks like. So just to recap, light source, camera, then you. If you have any other way, you're going to look very blurry, you're going to look very shadowy, and you're not going to see what your physique actually looks like. Hey.
Hi.
Out for a stroll in my old school. Scenes.
It's the probably is.
So yeah, the way I'm breaking my steps down these days, so I have 13 and a half to do per day. So getting in around 3,000 or 4,000 in the morning, and then I will go for a walk in the afternoon or evening, like maybe between 4 to 6. So that's after I've trained, after I've done any check-ins I needed to do. The reason for it being is if I do all my steps before I go train, like, I'm not going to have the same energy for training, trying to avoid nettles here. I won't have the same energy for training, so training performance may be impacted. And then as well, it just means then I have all of my work done before I have to go out and like complete the rest of my expenditure for the day. I've never actually done cardio in the fat loss phase. I've only ever done steps. I remember when I discovered, like, you know, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and like just like monitor your step count, that changed a lot for me. Like, first fat loss phase I ever did where I incorporated it, I got down to like 78 kilos. I got very, very lean. So yeah, I mean, if you are looking to lose body fat and you're not looking at your steps, I'd 100% check what they are and start tracking them, and, you know, see where you are at the moment, and then try to like aim for maybe like 10 or 20% above, and you will see so much easier fat loss. You don't necessarily need to do cardio. Well, obviously we have cardio for health and we can use it for health. It is a tool for fat loss to increase energy expenditure. If we can do that by simply increasing steps, that is going to be such an efficient way for you to do it. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's a certain, like, the 10,000 step rule, like it's very arbitrary. That came from a study on the Japanese, I believe, and I think even for like reducing all-cause mortality, I think it's like 7,500 or above are going to potentially be just beneficial from a health standpoint. And thereafter, it's really just going to be a case of like what your physical activity levels are like on a day-to-day basis. So that's why I say increase your steps by about 10 to 20%, and you should be good to go from there. Lunch is served at Casa del Story. We got asparagus. I suppose that's the plural of asparagus, I think. Some brock as usual, potato, and we got some chicken barbecued. Gonna try some of this hot sauce. Can't go wrong if you're dieting. Here we are back from the parents' house, and I've like 15,000, 16,000 steps done at this point. So the plan for the rest of the evening is to sit down and do nothing. It is 5 o'clock. I have 2 more meals to go. So this is my second last meal, I suppose. Then I didn't show you my smoothie earlier. This day is kind of turned into a full day of eating, which it wasn't meant to be a full day of eating, but you know, here we are. So what I'm having yogurt, berries, fiber 1, some vanilla flavor drops, and then I'm also having some Cocoa Pops and some full fat milk. So as I mentioned, today is a refeed. Now, when it does come to a refeed, the main thing that we're looking to do in a refeed is, from a nutrition point of view, is like to increase carbohydrates, right? Increase carbohydrates that may help with a performance benefit or more increased glycogen storage. They can help with increasing like leptin storage. So leptin is a satiety hormone in the body. And then there's also the potential, but there could be a potential benefit to, you know, increase energy expenditure throughout the day, as well as like just it can be beneficial from an adherence standpoint, because psychologically at the end of the week, you know, you have days where they're going to be slightly higher in calories. The rest of the low days may be a little bit easier to stick with. Now, some of those points that I mentioned, they may need longer than 1 day refeed. So, you know, if we're looking to increase energy expenditure through these, if we're looking to increase our leptin sensitivity, if we're looking to increase glycogen storage, we may need more than 1 day. Like, it could be up to a week of maintenance and higher carbohydrate intakes. And obviously, I'm not doing that at the moment because, you know, I'm still trying to keep the deficit pretty reasonable. But, you know, this may serve one of the kind of purposes there that I talked about in terms of the psychological benefit that may get from this. And there could be some kind of performance benefit. I mean, like 1 day of increased carbohydrates, that may help my performance in the gym tomorrow. And typically it does. Now, a key thing to kind of distinguish between a refeed and just like an off-plan meal or a cheat meal is that carbs are the main focus of my food increases today. So I've increased carbs through having a bagel at my breakfast. I'm having cocoa pops here, which I don't usually do. My fats have also gone up by 20 grams. So for reference, on a low day, my carbohydrates are 335, today's 450. My fats are usually 60 and today's 80. So the greater amount of calories there coming from the carbohydrates kind of satisfy, you know, the kind of carbohydrate overfeeding point of the refeed. If you're having an off-plan meal, or if you're just having like quote unquote a cheat meal, it's different to a refeed, okay? Because the nutritional values of that meal may be completely different, right? The makeup of this is going to be slightly different to a pizza or a Chinese, for example, okay? They will definitely serve a benefit from, you know, an increased amount of energy that you're taking in. They'll serve a benefit from a psychological standpoint. But like in my experience, like personally, when I've implemented those as refeeds, they've just kind of made me want to have those foods more often, and they've made me potentially worse night's sleep. It has skewed my weigh-ins because when you were having those meals, they're having a greater kind of array of, you know, high fat, high sugar, high salt. Like even with the increase of overall salt in those meals, you know, it's going to really mess up with your fluid balance. So the following day, your weight is going to be up a ton. That night, you may be kind of really dehydrated through the night. That could affect your sleep quality. So I'd be trying to shy away from that as much as I can, especially for now, because right now, like, I don't really have cravings. My calories have dropped by pretty much 1,000 since we started this prep, and I've dropped 7 kilos. But I've pretty much no cravings. I'm pretty hungry coming up to meals, but I'm able to control it. Like, this is my second time recording this video, and like, you know, I'm still able to control myself without eating this food and scoffing it down, which if I was really, really hungry, I would not be able to even record one video. This will have been cleared completely. You know, maybe in time when things get really, really tough, maybe I would allow myself for something like that. But then again, as well, as calories get lower, meals like that, like more kind of cheat meals, hedonistic meals, whatever you want to call them, off-plan meals, they get way, way harder to fit into because the calories are going to be so much higher, whereas I can easily control the actual quantities of like carbohydrates, fats, protein, whatever that I'm getting into these meals, and really make sure that it's really satisfying the macros I'm looking for, the targets I'm looking for, because, you know, it's not that long to kind of do without those kind of foods. Realistically, they're going to be here and there after prep is finished. You know, they're always going to be there, so I don't really feel that I'm completely restricting myself for them. It's a short-term loss. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit now, so I am going to eat this before my stomach does eat itself, because I am quite hungry, not gonna lie. But yeah, if I have any more insightful rambles before the next meal, I'll definitely try them. Final meal of the day, sticking with those stir-fry themes that I've been having lately. I think in the last video I actually had a burrito bowl, but yeah, mince stir fry. I've been putting like spring onion in it recently, because like fresh spring onion in stir fries as like a garnish is 10 out of 10, but I obviously used it all yesterday. Have a new kind of hot sauce on it. This is the hot sauce I've been using, hot chicken flavor sauce. Just found it in an Asian market. It is unbelievable. It's so spicy, but it is so nice. So yeah, I'm gonna get stuck into this. I'm gonna watch an episode of The A-List. Bit of a fucked up TV show if anybody hasn't watched it. Would recommend though. One thing as well for fat loss, watching TV while you're eating is probably not the best thing that you could be doing. If you're really struggling with hunger, okay, it is best to separate the two. Like at the moment, as I mentioned, I'm not that hungry like throughout the day. Like I'm hungry coming up to meals, but you're going to feel far more satisfied if you just eat the meal at a table and you fully just like focus on chewing, the taste, like, you know, the feeling of fullness that you get from the meal, versus eating with distraction. It's very easy to put away like a couple of hundred, couple of thousand calories when you're eating mindlessly and you're distracted. So think about when you go to the cinema. You go to the cinema and you buy a box of popcorn. You eat the whole thing. You don't necessarily feel stuffed. Like obviously the food quality of the food plays into that. But you know, you put away a couple of hundred calories, probably like 900 calories or so, or maybe more in large popcorn, and you eat that pretty handily, and you don't really feel like satisfied. You don't feel like, I just had a lovely meal there. So like how you are eating it and where you're eating foods really does play into it. So if you really struggle with hunger and you never really feel satisfied after meals, and you struggle with like, you know, snacking even, shift it away from like a laptop screen, shift away from the TV, try to make the act of eating act on its own, and don't combine it with something else. Try to eat distraction free, and it would be so much easier for you to feel satisfied and keep your calories controlled. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up today's video. A pretty boring day. It is 9:30 now, so I'm gonna hit the hay, have a big training session in the morning. It is a Sunday squat session at abs as always for 9 a.m. So that means I am gonna have to get up a little bit earlier. I'll probably get up at the same time as I usually do, at around 6, and go for a walk beforehand, get some steps in, go train. That's gonna take a few hours. So, you know, getting those steps in before I go training is key for cramming in the 13.5 straight today, because otherwise, like, you know, trying to get in, you know, 13,500 steps after training legs and like, you know, a 2-3 hour training session, it's pretty fucking tough, especially at this stage of the diet. Like I'm not gonna lie, when I'm going out for steps, sometimes I'm kind of dragging my ass at the moment. Like definitely on Friday was one of the hardest days of prep so far. Had a bit too much pre-workout and it pretty much crashed during my training session, and like literally just felt like I had no power. And then for the rest of the day it felt fucking terrible. Had to take a nap, but you know, is what it is. Those are kind of days that I will encounter trail prep. That's completely fine. It is to be expected. All right. So yeah, gonna wrap this video up here. Hit the hay, get some sleep, and get in the gym for tomorrow. All right. Rambling. Talk to you later.